Hey guys, it's Josh,
I'm Bryn.
and we are Idaho Prepared. And today what we are going to be discussing is bug out bags. Now, what I really love about this is it turns out, doesn't turn out, a lot of times when you turn into a YouTube channel and they're doing bug out bags, it looks like they bought everything brand new, just threw it in just minutes before, prepared for the video. What we're going to be doing is an authentic one. Bryn, how long has it been since you've touched this?
I haven't went through this bag in probably 6 months in the last bug out bag class we did. This bag is not something that was just thrown together. This is something that sits in our closet in my my preparedness room, for lack of a better word, the Freedom Factory, and it stays the way it sits right now. I don't touch this. This bag has never been brought out hiking or camping or hunting, or this is my bug out bag. This is the bag that is always put together in case something happens. And just to touch on bug out bags before we get into mine, this isn't going to be the end all be all bag. First of all, it's never complete. Every time I find something that I think will be useful, I throw it in here. This bag has been built over the last 4 years. Me and my fiance have built our bags together. It's a great activity for couples to do, not just for the camaraderie and the fun of it, but to know what each other have in that situation. I know everything that's in her bag, and a lot of the same stuff is in mine. A lot of different stuff are in mine because she's a woman, I'm a man. We have different needs as far as hygiene and things like that go. But the premise are the same. My bag and her bag were built together. That means half of our shelter is in this bag and the other half is in hers. So if we get separated, she has a way to take care of herself just as I do. That being said, let's dive into my bag. The top pouch, it's going to be the most easily accessible, and what things that I have in my top pouch are glow sticks. These little infrared glow sticks will be used for trigger alarms and things like that, and they go with this tripwire. You'll notice a lot of the things that I have in this bag are from surplus stores or military surplus in general, but that's my alarm traps. And if Josh would be so kind as to reach right on top of that gun cabinet, there's some audio alarms. They're the fireworks in the back. Just grab, no, they're down on top of it. They're just little tiny
ones.
Yeah. I have big ones and I have little ones. But these little guys can be hooked up with a match on a mousetrap, and with this same trip cord you can now make an audible alarm. These are meant so I can see the threat without the threat knowing that I see it. So for hunting purposes and things like that, if I see this go off, I know there's an animal or something up there that just tripped it. This is for hearing something further away to where I can't see. Say we're in thick trees or something like that. It's going to scare the predator away. It's not really for sneaking up on things, but I'll know if there's something there. And then also in here is my Black Label tracker blade. This guy is an insanely utilitarian knife. This guy, I really want to go buy another one so that I can carry it in my hunting bag and things like that. Again, like I said, everything that's in here usually stays in here. Black Label is Browning's tactical line, and you can see how thick that tang is. This is a full tang tracker style blade with serrations on it. Very, very good utility knife. Comes with a Kydex holster with belt loops. This will probably be on my person in the situation that I have to deploy this bag. But it's there because I want to make sure that it's with me when that day comes. That's all more tripwire. That's all for the top pouch. To get into the meat and potatoes of the bag, by the way, this is an older style rucksack. That again I got from the military surplus store. There's not a whole ton of money into this kit. I would say at the most maybe $200 is what I've spent over the years. I have these knee pads, for one, because when you are trekking through some of the mountainous terrain that's here in Idaho, you need to have protection for your knees, whether it be in a combat situation where you're fighting or you're hiking through. I always recommend knee pads. They're a great solution to very easily preventable problems. On the inside of this guy, I have a frog gig that can be fastened with a set screw onto a stick for spear fishing or for deadfall traps. Many uses for this little guy. This was $1. It was $1 at an Ace Hardware store, and you can usually find them in the fishing section. But it's just a frog spear, a frog gig. I have these emergency blankets for signaling, or you know, if it's a natural disaster situation and we had to leave the valley because, say, the dams broke, I have some way to signal aircraft very easily, or stay warm as they're intended to be used.
And keep in mind, I haven't seen any of this. This is the first time I've seen this, so.
I have the heaters from MREs. Those of you ex-military guys out there, you know what these can be used for. These can very easily be turned into compression bombs for a defensive type of situation. These are very handy in more ways than one. So I keep those as well. And I have tons of paracord. I have a shoelace. You never know when this could come in handy. Cordage is always a good thing. I have a crap knife. This is a crap knife. This will never be used for, you know, anything other than beating the crap out of on, say, a fire starter or something like that. It is a steel blade. It's an old school steel blade, and there's two of them. So I have the capabilities of using it on a fire starter numerous times. I do not recommend using your actual utility knife or, say, your fighting knife or anything like that on a fire starter. It will dull it out very, very quickly. This guy can be used to shave off magnesium or anything like that, and be used to start fires or shave kindling, or, you know, anything like that. Any kind of tinder making, you can use this guy without damaging up your big utility knife. I have this belt that is a tiny, tiny youth belt. It's the reason for this is a makeshift tourniquet. I do have a traditional cat tourniquet on my combat load, which is another aspect of my bug out bag, but it is in my truck in my active threat kit, so I'm not going to go get it and bring it out here. But it's a body armor vest with an IFAK, and that's where most of my medical is. But this is a secondary tourniquet, or you can be used to lash something or what have you. More tripwire. This tripwire, I can't stress it. It's so easily utilized. You can use it to bind a shelter together. You can use it as a tripwire. You can use it in any way that a small, strong thread can be used. But it's metal, so it's pretty good to keep around, and I have a lot of it.
And for those at home who don't know, where do you get that metal wire?
Military surplus stores.
There you go.
So a lot of this stuff has came from. I have a finger saw in case, you know, I don't want to damage my serrated blade or anything like that. My hatchet isn't with me. I can still cut down small limbs and use them. As you can see, it's on the back. It's got a diagram for single usage or dual usage. You can tie paracord on each end, and two people can work this. If you haven't used one of those, I recommend you trying it before you go buy it, because they are a pain.
Yeah.
They're not really the greatest, most comfortable thing to use, but, you know, whatever. I did have it in here. Cool. Okay, so this is my water filtration. This thing filters up to 100,000 gallons and can be backwashed in order to use it as a, again, for another 50,000 gallons. These guys are much better than your life straws. Your life straws are for 25,000 gallons. These are for 100,000 and possibly 150,000. You can also hook these up, as you can see right here. You can hook them up in line to your bladders, for your hydration bladders, which I do have on this bag. So this unit just goes in between your bladder hose and what you're drinking from. These guys are awesome. They also they come with an adapter to screw onto a bottle, so you can screw them onto a water bottle after you fill it up in the creek and drink straight from it. These things are awesome. I believe this was like $15 or something like that.
It's like $19 at Walmart.
It's a great option.
What I love about those two in comparison to life straws, and life straws are great, but life straws are only going to be helpful if you're near water.
Right.
You can't take it with you, so you're not going to be able to travel as easily. You're going to have to be more strategic.
You can't get that surplus. You stop at the creek and fill up your canteens or your bladders or anything and then go on. You have to have that right there to drink from the straw. This is some insectant repellent. A lot of people don't think about it, but think about a pandemic situation where mosquitoes can possibly carry a deadly disease that's caused you to bug out. Insect repellent is always in here.
I'm assuming that's something you picked up in Kentucky with all the mosquitoes.
Yes, it is, actually. Yeah, this bag has been with me for, like I said, 4 years. I've only been in Idaho for 3, so a lot of this did come from back east. This is a game drag strap. So this right here, yes, you will be seen if you're wearing this. So if you're in the situation where you don't want to be seen, this is probably not going to be implemented. But it's a great way to drag or haul game. Say it's a long-term survival situation. You want to keep the hide, you want to use the bones, you want to use everything, and you're 10 miles away from camp. You can drag it. You can drag it that far if you have to. With this guy, it goes around both shoulders, has 2 leads off of it. Works great. I have in here my magnesium bar for the crap knife. It's got a spark on one side, it's got a magnesium bar on the other. Great little fire starter. You'll see that there's multiple ways to do things in this bag because I believe in redundancy.
Yep.
I have a lighter, I have the mag bar, and I have matches. So there's 3 ways to start fire. Fire is a big deal when you're trying to survive. This guy right here, these are all fuel tabs, and they're filled up inside of this drinking cup because this is another way for me to get water. If for some reason I don't have my filter, I can now boil water or snow inside of this metal canteen cup, just like that. I can place it right by the fire, it'll get warm, it'll boil, it's just fine, and I can start the fire with, again, fuel tablets. So redundancy is key when preparing. I also have this stove, so if I don't have tinder and I only have those fuel tablets, I can drop those fuel tablets in here at airports, lights up the fire, and I take this guy, set it right on top, and cook whatever I need to cook. Great little addition, great little setup to have. I think I have it backwards, I should have it like this. Just kidding.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
There it goes. So it's a very compact little setup. Also in here I have high visibility. Again, if you're a natural disaster, I have a poncho in here that's very high vis. My fiance's poncho is camouflaged, so you know, again, you have to play off of what you have and who you're preparing with. So I also have this boonie hat, and you know, it's a dual purpose item. I can wear it and cover my head, get out of the sun a little bit, or just like it's tied up right here, I can use it to carry berries or anything I can forage right here. I can also put like a plastic bag in it, carry water. There's tons of uses for it. I also have a change of clothes. Now a lot of people are going to say, why do you have a change of clothes in here? Well, I have a change of clothes in here because of an incident that happened when I was hunting back in Kentucky. Or actually I was trapping, excuse me. I was walking along a creek, I stepped on a sheet of ice that I thought was pretty good. I slipped, I fell, my entire kit was soaking wet. My backpack, my clothes, everything was cold and wet, and hypothermia is a real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be what kills you. So to combat that, the first thing you have to do when you get in that situation is you either have to sit there naked while your clothes dry out, or you can get into a change of clothes and dry your clothes out. Either way, you have to be able to start a fire. And if all your stuff is wet, all you have is matches. Unless you have waterproof matches, you're kind of screwed. That's another reason for multiple ways to start a fire. If that mag bar gets wet, all I have to do is wipe it and dry it off. We can start a fire.
But it's the same thing with my set of clothes, though. I actually do keep it in Ziploc baggies, garbage bags, whatever I can do.
Some sort of dry pack.
Exactly.
So, to get further in here, I have a winter fleece camo toboggan. Because you do need to keep your ears nice and warm. And I have a pair of wool socks. I'm really not trying to get cold when I go out there.
Right.
I prefer winter weather. I hope that if a situation happens, I have to be in the winter because you can always put more clothes on. You can only take so many off before it becomes unacceptable. I have one of our homemade MREs. We have a video about that you can check out. I have some calories right here packed up ready to go. This is basically my food pouch. I have cookies, I have raisins, I have more raisins and more cookies. And then my hygiene bundle. As you can see, in this bag right here, there is a comb, a washcloth, soap, shampoo, tissues, toothbrush, toothpaste, razors, shaving cream, and antiperspirant. And this whole bag cost me $2.49. It's little things like these that will really make a bug out situation not so bad. Keep that in mind when you're packing things up. Again, surplus store.
So did they sell you the whole package just like that?
Yes, they did. And there was multiple packs that we got like that. And because we like to use this stuff before we have to use it, some of the stuff isn't here. But you know, it still holds true. Some of the things that we used, we went and got again. Some of the things we used we didn't like, so we didn't go get them. But if I can get this knot undone right here, I can show you some of our bedding. and our shelter. And it looks like I can get it. This just shows you this was not prepared for the video. This is how it sits all the time, and this is our bug out. So right up the top we have a canvas shelter. I'm not going to unfold it because it's a pain to refold. You can see the 10 spike holes. This is a military surplus canvas pup tent. This is one half of it, and like I said, my fiance has the other half so that we can set up shelter if we're separated. And then I have the wool blanket. I sacrificed the whoopee, and I gave the whoopee to my fiance. For those of you who don't know what a whoopee is, look them up. They're extremely useful. They're actually a poncho liner is the technical name, but they have gained the name whoopee as a nickname, and they're extremely good. But this wool blanket will keep me warm through whatever I need to do. It's a great way to insulate my body from the convection of the ground, which the ground will suck heat away from your body so quick. I can put this underneath me and be just fine. So that is what is in my bug out kit. That's my water, that's my shelter, that is, you know, a good bit of what I have. Like I said, the other half of it's in my truck. It's my active threat response kit, my body armor, my IFAK, my magazines, and everything else. I can also fasten my bow or my long rifle or anything else I can put on this bag and carry it as well. I failed to show you guys, but you can see right here the water hose from my bladder. It's tucked away inside the bag. And what you just heard fall out is actually the pole set and spikes and a rope for the shelter. So that's another way that we can quickly deploy shelter if we need to. But again, most of this stuff is from surplus stores. You don't have to be wealthy to be able to prepare. I don't make $1 million a year. I have a pretty average. Actually, our household is just right at the median income of the country, so we can do this. Anybody really can. And we just recently started making that average income. So a lot of the stuff was done on a budget with either one or none of us working. It's $1 at a time, $10 at a time. It doesn't matter. Like I said, the hygiene pack was $2.50. For those of you who smoke or like myself would chew, how much money do you spend on that? A year. That's stuff that can be spent on preparing. If I ever get into a position where I'm really hard up and it comes between preparing or chewing, guess what? I'm not going to chew anymore.
Right.
It's that simple. It's a lifestyle that you have to be willing to live if you want to be prepared. And like I said, this is not the end-all be-all bag. This is just what's best for us. You're going to have to prepare for your situation. We don't have kids. We do have dogs and chickens. We are prepared to take the chickens and dogs with us if we have to leave. The chickens are a food source every day. The dogs are a great alarm source, and I'm pretty confident 2 of them would be able to defend us if we had to. The Chihuahua's probably not going to do much. But
so let me ask you a question. I mean, we're at your house, and that's why we're able to present a lot of your equipment you have for people to see.
Right.
With your bug out bag, knowing that you're constantly adding things, sometimes upgrading things, what is the next thing you foresee yourself putting in this bag?
I'm going to probably put a standalone medical kit in it in case I am separated from my truck or my truck is in the shop or whatever the situation may be. I probably won't leave those items in my truck in it if it has to go in the shop. But for whatever situation, again, preparedness, I'm going to change that up. I'm also looking at switching the actual bag that I have from this rucksack to something that's more suitable to my environment. In Kentucky, this woodland camo was perfect because there's a lot of green. Here in Idaho, the multicam seems to blend in a lot better. I'm probably going to go to a newer style multicam military surplus rucksack. It just takes money, and that's what I'm saving for. So, I have a multicam bag over there. That's my hunting bag I use. So I'm not going to mix the two. I want a standalone bag. But really, I don't see myself adding anything, and more so replacing things as I see better options for shelter that's less weight or something like that. I want to add a hammock in case it's summertime. It packs down to this big, so expect a review on hammocks when I get one. It all depends on the situation, really. I mean, if it's a very comfortable bug out situation, I'm going to take the air mattress frame and my air mattress with my electric motor.
Right.
You really don't know. If I have 10 minutes to get out, some of the stuff you see in this room in the backdrop won't be coming with me. However, if I have a couple days, it's a good chance this room will be empty. So really replacing things is a better word for it. I want to add a couple other options. I need to get my hatchet fastened to the bag. I need to do things like that simply so I can make it a little bit easier for myself. I want to add a rifle scabbard to the bag, and the lack of molly really hinders that. I have to come up with a creative way to do that. As you can see, this pouch right here is just held together with 550 cord. So sometimes it just takes a little bit of ingenuity. So I don't know. You know, it's kind of a fluid situation when it comes to doing a bug out bag. It can change in a day. It can change completely in another direction the next day. So really,
I think you hit the nail on the head with the medical kit.
Yeah.
And I know. So we both carry medical kits everywhere we go.
Right.
And we'll be doing a video on those as well. But
that's one of those videos where we're going to bring somebody in who knows a lot more about it. I can do a lot of combat medical things. I can basically patch you up until someone else gets there. However, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of advanced things. I'm not an expert when it comes to medical. I can get you to somebody who knows more. That's basically the way I'm set up. That being said,
and I think most people are that way or want to be that way.
Right.
And for me, that's exactly what it is I want to focus on getting you from point A to point B without dying. And that's what my IFAC is set up for, is for myself. But I do have extra things in there if I need to for somebody else.
It's always another story I can share with you guys. There was an incident when I was in traffic, and it was on a 3-lane road. The 2 left lanes were at a standstill with a gap for a crossroad, and the right lane was still moving. A lady jumped through the 2 lanes that were stopped. She got T-boned, she T-boned the car that was moving in the far right lane and pushed her into a telephone pole. Well, in today's society, it's not really a Good Samaritan-friendly society, so everyone else just kept moving by this lady when this accident just happened. And I pulled my truck to block the 2 right lanes because there was 2 vehicles down there. And I got out and started rendering first aid to the lady that had gotten T-boned. Once I got her head injury to stop bleeding, I went and I looked at the other car, made sure they were okay. And again, it's where open carrying comes into play, because the woman who actually hit the other lady didn't have car insurance, and she was trying to leave. She thought I was a law enforcement officer. I never identified myself as a law enforcement officer because that is illegal. But because I had my medical kit and I carry a sidearm open carry, she figured I was a cop or a first responder of some sort, and she stayed put.
Did you tell her she needed to stay there?
I did. I told her that she needed to get out of her vehicle and get her kids out of her vehicle and sit on the curb and wait for the police to arrive, in which she did. And later, when she told the cop that I was a law enforcement officer, and he came over and asked me, for my badge and things, I was like, I'm not a cop. And he was like, oh, well, good thing you stayed here, because she probably would have ran. She thought you were a cop. She didn't have insurance. She didn't have registration. She didn't have anything. So it's always a good idea to stay prepared just for everyday situations. When it comes to things like medical, that's why it's in my truck and not in my bug out bag, because situations like that. So a standalone medical kit in this bag, I have room for it. I really should get it in. I have boxes that are laying back there on my shelf that are full of gauze and things like that I probably should put together a kit and just stash it in here, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, with the person we're going to bring on to show you, it's going to be more so building that medical kit, not only for yourself, but for your family.
Right.
So stay tuned for that.
Well, and you also have to remember, like, when you're doing a bug out bag, don't just build your bag for yourself.
Right.
If you have kids, put stuff for your kids in there. You know, my fiance has things for our dogs because they're probably going to be with her. You know, I work on the road, so it's less likely I'll be here by myself, because if something happens and I'm home, I'm going to her job and getting her. So prepare for your family, and that's kind of what we're going to do with the guy with medical that we're going to bring.
Right. And also have your kids have bug out bags as well.
Absolutely.
Build it for that. So, as always, guys, it's a pleasure. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.